Well, 40 minutes to go, and it could possibly be a case of damage limitation for Halifax. Well, Anthony Farrell's pulled off a couple of half-time team talks that have made a big difference in recent weeks. Even the players are quick to admit that. But to talk 12 men into beating 13 at 20 points down is a big ask, and Morley's back on for Halifax. Still no sign of Johnny Simpson and Jody Sharif off the bench. Ailey will try and run it up. It's so difficult to break down this Whitehaven side because there's such a big side. MacDonald will try his hand and get put to the ground by 2. Kicking out in an effort to try and get over and play it quickly, as Wisner throws it out to Blackwood. Blackwood down that far side, trying to make the best of it, as Whitehaven force him towards the touchline. And Nanny not in a rush to get off the floor. Jason Bolts thought about the pass and made it up to the 40. Last one of this first set of 6 for Halifax. Back to Wisner for the kick. Well, it's not the best kick as it bounces up for the winger on that far side. And Halifax closed down. Wesley Wilson eventually setting the defensive line just before they made the tackle. MacDonald was close to the line then on a high tackle, as indicated by the referee. Once again, he's saying it's gone in with the shoulder. Once again, it's MacDonald. So move the ball out wide, Halifax. Left wanting on that far side. Wisner makes the tackle. Halifax try to put the man into touch. Unsuccessfully in front of a whole host of Whitehaven supporters on that far side. Leroy Joe takes the inside route when Whitehaven had men screaming for the ball on this side of the field. It's the last tackle on the 40. Back to Penny. Penny to Broadbent. Broadbent out wide. Power play. Early pass there to the winger. And Broadbent might get the bounce on this one, but it's come up in Halifax's favour. And Gibson turned over by Penny in the tackle. Wayne Corcoran turns back inside, and Whitehaven once again successfully turned the man on his back, which makes it slower getting from the floor. Morley with a step and does well to take the ball over the 30-metre line, gets up and plays it quickly. Bloom will run at the Whitehaven defence on his own. He takes the ball up to halfway. Whitehaven man injured. Bloom looks to the touch judge there, thought they'd held on a bit wrong, as Larder takes the ball from Wisner. Last tackle. Hands already in the air to signal the kick. Well, it hasn't exactly gone where they wanted it, but Wisner's popped it up and left Broadbent a couple of metres in from touch on that far side, but he's still making ground. He's a full-back back up towards the 20. Whitehaven managing to drive the ball away and back up to the 40. Halifax try to stem this Whitehaven tide. Last tackle, Whitehaven just inside the Halifax half. Referee with his hand in the air. Penny chips over, and if he gets the bounce here, there's a chance for him. Well, he's kicked on, and Haley has lost it. The bounce back over Haley's head. Well, a touch of fortuity for Whitehaven there. And nothing that Haley could do about that after Penny had kicked on for the second time. And it's Leroy Joe that's on hand to score Whitehaven's first points of the second half. After an encouraging start from Halifax, driving the ball away from their own line, completing the set of 6. And it all backfires as Penny gets a lucky bounce on the second kick, up into the arms of Leroy Joe, back over the head of the winger Haley. And the Whitehaven lead stretches. Whitehaven 30, Halifax 6. Kick to come from Nanny, and Anthony Farrell already warming up his other 2 replacements on the bench, Johnny Simpson and Jody Sharif. Fifth try, sixth conversion. I only just noticed that Dean Lawford's come off for Halifax, and he looks to be in some pain with the leg again. So Halifax left with limited half-back resources, limited three-quarter resources, with a shed load of props. And we're going to have to do a lot of work on this exercise in damage limitation. It really is hard to see Lawford a key playmaker for Halifax leaving the field, and the team being swapped around and rearranged to accommodate that as Chambers is put to the ground. MacDonald has a second go, but Whitehaven pouring forward again. Larder and Bolts and MacDonald having trouble stopping the big Cumbrian forward, driving forward again. Last tackle, and Penny will once again go with a kick. Haley underneath it, but four men in front of the winger, and he ain't going to get much progress out of that as he's clattered by Broadbent. Bloom takes the short pass, tries a couple of different options, and the run ends on the 30. Adcroft from acting half into 3. Wisner out to Larder, does well to keep hold of it. Shouts for a knock on there. Close attention paid by referee and touch judge as Jason Bolts takes it just over halfway on the last tackle. Wisner will kick, splitting fullback and winger. It'll be Craig Calvert that picks it up and gives it to Broadbent. And Broadbent will bring the ball over the 20. Tackled by Wisner. Nanning. Halifax struggling to contain the big centre. Corcoran might have struggled a bit there as he's clung onto the centre's legs. Leroy Joe unloads, and Morley and Bloom are in quickly. And referee will want to speak to Chris Morley. Another penalty to Whitehaven. And after 10 penalties, I think in the first 20 minutes of the first half, this the first one of the second. And Penny puts the ball into touch. And Halifax will be pulled back by the run from Summers, and still pushing forward Chambers. Well, Halifax have plenty of forwards on. Whitehaven come back to the left hand side through the hands. David Seeds unable to get the pass away. Cox moves into the dummy half position. Penny goes for the gap. Halifax unable to stop him, went high, and Penny just brushed the tackles aside on his way to the line. Halifax came up the M6 looking for the first 2 league points of the season, and could be heading off back down the M6 with one of the biggest beatings he might take this season. without top try scorer Ricky Sharif for a couple of weeks, without influential halfback Ben Black, Tuilangi missing as well, and Andy Spink. And it really does put a big hole in the Halifax side, who have a relatively small squad compared to others. And Ryan MacDonald replaced by Johnny Simpson, who will come on to try and fight what is now a lost cause at 38 points to Whitehaven, 6 to Halifax. And still a long way to go. Well, Halifax have got one bounce anyway. Touch on the far side. I said the player put his foot in touch. And Halifax will be probably the closest they've been to the Whitehaven line since Haley was stopped 4 or 5 metres short towards the end of the first half. And that the second only to Fisher's try. So Halifax trying to put some respect onto the scores. Wisner gives it to Bloom. Bloom pops it up for Corcoran, but Corcoran, Rudd tried to strip the ball. Morley charging towards the line. Tackle 5 metres away. Fisher getting it from a slow play, the ball. Corcoran out to Wisner. Wisner to Bloom once again. Bloom gives the ball to Corcoran, linking up again. Corcoran shows it, gives it to Jason Bultz, who spins away from 2 tacklers. But Halifax are still 5 metres away, but they have a penalty in front of the post for a high tackle. So Halifax has no rewards in going for the 2. We'll try and push for the 6. Morley caught first, and then Fisher pushed back. Corcoran out to Wisner. Wisner long ball out wide. It bounces up for Blackwood, and Blackwood strong but not strong enough to get through the 3 tackles as Adcroft uses the short side and almost buries under the 3 defenders. Blackwood will try again, assisted by Adcroft. Blackwood still on his feet, just can't manage to get the ball down. Last tackle. Larder will be left to kick the ball, and that one will go dead and come back for the tap on the 20. Well, that's where Halifax needed Dean Lawford's kicking skills. Lawford not on the pitch. Halifax now need to go back into defensive mode. It's got to be said that last week against Castleford they had a pretty awesome defence, but they're finding it very tough to stop this Whitehaven machine rolling forward this afternoon. Big hit from Corcoran on Mark Cox. Well, Corcoran there again with a tackle. That'll be a penalty. Well, he's actually given the... Well, I'm not sure what he's given there. Well, I thought he'd given a penalty there. The man went down. The ball carrying arm didn't appear to touch the ground. But the referee has obviously seen something as Corcoran fires a long pass out which misses Wisner and gets to Bloom. Bloom gets it back to Corcoran. Loses his boot in the process. And the hooker Leicester all over Corcoran there as Simpson drives it forward. Gets through the first tackle and makes the second and third tacklers do work to put him down. Wisner back inside to Bultz, who took it from a standing start and then got it away to Fisher. And Fisher does well to get to the 20. Gets up and plays it quickly. Bultz is the acting half as Wisner has the run round with Fisher, who takes it up to the 10. And Larder away from acting half, charging towards the post into 3 on the last tackle once again. Whitehaven are looking light on that far side, and that's the way Halifax has gone as Wisner gets the ball over the top and Whitehaven are forced to push it dead. So this is the best passage of play that Halifax have had throughout this game, forcing the second and set of 6. That after a mistake seen by the referee that nobody else did, which gave Halifax the advantage. Stringing 1 or 2 passes together as well at Halifax as they go towards that Whitehaven line. Drop out reaches the 40-metre line, and Larder will be invited by Wisner to run it back, and returns it with interest up to the 20-metre line. Jason Bolt charges forward, but Whitehaven have numbers in defence. They've not been they'll have plenty of reserves of energy in that respect because they've not been tested that much in defence. Corcoran just couldn't get the ball away to Gibson, but Halifax have managed somehow to keep it alive, and I think it's Wayne Corcoran that's been rewarded for his efforts early in this second half. With Halifax's second try of the game, it moves them into double figures. Well, they've made Whitehaven work, and they've not had to do a lot of work in defence. But they ran out of energy there as Corcoran and Halifax strung together the passes. And Wayne Corcoran touches down under the post, move Halifax into double figures. It's Whitehaven 38, Halifax 10. And Bloom will try and cut that Whitehaven lead even further from 8 metres out. And he obliges, does Bloom. Well, Whitehaven coach Steve McCormack not happy with his side conceding the 6. They seem to have taken the foot off the gas there, but Halifax kept the ball alive and were rewarded for 2 sets of 6 on that Whitehaven line. Nanning hoofs the ball down field, and the touch judge was indecisive there on what decision to give, because he looked at the white line and seemed to indicate that the ball had touched the line and gone in, stayed in play, and then realised that if the ball touches a white line and goes out, then it's considered out, and so Halifax will get possession back again. Jason Bolt's first man in, back to Fisher. Fisher to Wisner. Wisner to Larder, and the ball stops there as Simpson tried to latch on to the end of that one. Morley shows it to Bloom, runs across the defence, but is forced backwards. Corcoran to Bloom. Bloom thought he was going to pass it there. Slowed down as he tried to get up and play the ball. Wisner gives it to Gibson. Gibson to Fisher, and Fisher, not enough support there for the hooker. On the 10-metre line, Gibson gives it to Wisner. Wisner fires it out to Haley. And Haley not incapable of scoring from that distance, but with 3 defenders in front of him, a big ask. And Wisner knocks it on the 5th tackle in an effort to conjure something up from Halifax. But it certainly put some doubts in the minds of the Whitehaven players when Halifax throw the ball about. Players running angles. Fatty Loafer's back on for Whitehaven to beef up the forward advance. Broadbent, the Salford, former Salford and Widnes fullback, takes it up to the 20. Cormac's already also sent on Carl Seiss, who's a fairly prolific try scorer. Mark Cox met by 3, 35 metres away from the Whitehaven line. Seiss has a little dart down that far side, and Halifax get the ball back. Well, Seiss in an effort to keep the ball alive, give the Halifax the advantage back as Adcroft goes down that short side on the far side of the field, takes Halifax back into the 40, and Simpson from a short run gets to the 30 before being met by 3. Wisner moves it out wide to Corcoran. Corcoran trying to release Broom into the gap, gets it away to Morley, and Morley just unable to get out of the tackle by Seeds. Haley gives it to Bloom. Bloom gets it to Corcoran. Corcoran gets it to Wisner. Wisner to Fisher. Fisher looked for support again, but it's Wisner and Corcoran that are doing a lot of the interchanges, and both those have been down on the floor. As Larder, who of course a member of that Leigh side that played against Whitehaven in that grand final, is caught just short, but Halifax not throwing in the towel yet as Widnes are pushed back to their own line once again with a bit of good play by Halifax, keeping the ball alive. Certainly causing problems for this Whitehaven defence. Something perhaps they could have done with in the first half had they got the possession, and Whitehaven relying on Broadbent again to bring the ball forward so his forwards can have a rest. Now they'll go back with Fatty Alofa, who manages to get the ball away, and Corcoran on hand to make the tackle. Leicester was down, but the ball carrying arm was on the floor after Corcoran had let go, so Whitehaven are allowed to take the ball up to the Halifax 40. Pennant jinking and diving, gets the ball away. Leroy Joe is the man that goes back to collect it, then Leroy Joe fancies a run on his own. Ball comes out, Morley. Well, he's not going to go 60 metres in Chris Morley, but he's going to secure the possession once again for Halifax. As Bloom runs across the field and takes Wisner out. Adcroft from acting half, and Whitehaven must have been offside there. Wisner looked for the quick one there, but the referee quick to stop him. Chris Morley will take a breather as Jody Sharif comes on for Halifax, and Wayne Corcoran pumps the ball into touch just about on the Whitehaven 20. Another chance for Halifax to attack this line as Fisher goes on his own and almost ducks under two. Takes Halifax to within 9 metres. Bolts misses the ball. Gibson tries to step inside. Halifax pushing again. Wisner will be the orchestrator. Showed the ball but didn't give the pass. And Halifax still 5 metres away. Simpson from acting half gives it to Fisher. Fisher. Well, it's not bringing any rewards for Halifax, isn't the single runs, but when they pass the ball about, as Corcoran did to Sharif, and Sharif's brought it down a metre away. Last tackle, Bloom behind the line. And Whitehaven are going to come back for that. Can they take the quick one? They can't. Well, how these 10-metre rule changes every week, because most games you see now the referee will wait until the defending side are back 10 metres. But once again, Ben Thaler ignoring that rule, as referees seem to do at Liberty, and allowing Whitehaven to try and push Halifax back with a quick tap. Whitehaven back in the Halifax half of the field. Fatty Alofa comes up with a mistake. Just over the halfway point in the second half. Whitehaven 38, Halifax 12. So far in the second half, in possession terms, Halifax probably just having the better of the possession, as Blackwood can't escape the clutches of Nanning on that far side, trying to get it and play it up quickly. Adcroft thinks there's something down that far side, but again can't break down the defence. Wisner so we'll bring the ball back inside as Fisher takes it from Bolts on the 40-metre line. Wisner, long ball out wide, it's picked up by Bloom. Bloom steps inside 2, steps inside 3, and then he's trapped on the 30-metre line. Simpson, run at the Whitehaven defence, last tackle. Halifax on the 20-metre line, and Wisner will go to the air again to test the defence. on the far side. The defence is under pressure. The referee's wave play on, and Blackwood has got a try for Halifax as the referee signals play on. So Anthony Blackwood adds a little more respectability to Halifax's score with a third try. Referee and touches were in a good position. So Bloom from the far side, his most difficult kick so far of the afternoon. And it doesn't look bad as Bloom slots over and adds another 2 points to the Halifax total. So 3 tries, 3 conversions for Halifax. And Halifax have hit Whitehaven with keeping the ball alive. Come on, Evan! And if anybody knows about miraculous comebacks, it's got to be Halifax after the playoffs that witnessed last season. So likely we're going to see such a Houdini act this afternoon, but there is a little bit more respectability in Halifax's second half performance, considering they're down to 12 men, and Sharif will bring it back from the kick and meets a wall of 3. Haley gives it inside. Fisher running strong for Halifax. He gets up and plays it quickly. Haley looks to take advantage of it. There's a man offside left it. Well, Halifax continuing to try and be adventurous, managed to knock the ball on and give Whitehaven the possession. Referee not happy with the scrum. So Pennant will feed again, gives it out to Broadbent. Broadbent tackled on the 30. Closest Whitehaven have been for some time to that Halifax line. McDermott drives it up, former Workington player. Aaron Summers back on for Whitehaven. Fatty Alofa takes the inside ball. 15 metres out from the Halifax line. Good tackle by Simpson. Ball lost by the Whitehaven man. Gibson tries to counter-attack, but there's no advantage. Take the first knock on and the scrum down. Corcoran moved to the scrum half berth, gives it out to Gibson. Gibson watched all the way by his opposite number, Broadbent, and Leroy Joe as well. Bolts goes back on the inside ball and only gets to the 20 before being put down by 3. Fisher at acting half, not the best of passes. Larder did well to keep all of it. Shipped it further out, but Halifax once again having no advantage down that left hand side with Blackwood as Simpson takes the ball off Wisner. Halifax still stuck on their own 30 as Fisher steps away from 2, gets it away to Blackwood, and Blackwood will take it over halfway. Halifax back in the Whitehaven half, but it is the last tackle as Wisner drills one through on the floor. Now the chase is on. Wisner after the man, Gibson after the replacement, Carl Sice, and Gibson will just be unable to bring down Carl Sice. A touch of luck there. Well, can't blame Pat Wine. They're trying something different. It just didn't come off. And that an unlucky break for Halifax because they've been right in this game in the second half. There's no doubt about it. The McNannon will surely put over his 8th 2-pointer of the afternoon, and that's probably the pin that bursts Halifax's balloon, because they've matched Whitehaven with the 12 men in this second half. 3 tries to 2 in Whitehaven's favour. Halifax have thrown the ball about and showed some character in the face of stern opposition. The match was probably won in the first half for Whitehaven, but Halifax not giving up the cause, and Corkenham, Wisner and Fisher still trying to create in midfield and keep the ball alive. And Bloom will kick the ball high and long, trying to keep it in the air as long as possible. Tackle made 12 metres out from the Whitehaven line. Whitehaven supporters after a penalty. Good tackling on the 20 from Simpson and Jody Sharif. Fatty Alofa struggling this second half, dropped a couple of balls but managed to get his sizable frame down to pick that one up. Leroy Joe driving forward, manages to get it away under attention from Wisner. Sharif standing firm, joined again in the tackle by Simpson. There could be problems here for Halifax as the ball comes loose yet again. Referee says back to 1 as Haley tries to wrestle the ball away from Carl Sice. Whitehaven back in their own half, but with 6 tackles in the bag. As Calvert tries to find a route through the middle. Back to the short side. Summers steps through 2, and then he's put to ground, but not before making good yards. And Summers playing for and winning the penalty. Whitehaven will try and finally push home the advantage that they held so much for that first half, with Fatty Alofa driving towards the line. Tries to get the ball away. Sice screaming onto it but not taking it. Leroy Joe has been held up over the line. Whitehaven supporters cheering already, but the ball will come back 10 metres away for the next play. Referee taking Halifax back the full 10. As Summers is brought down again 3 metres away from the line. And it'll be a tiring Halifax defence that tries to keep this Whitehaven onslaught out as McDermott gets the ball away. Nanning gets it away, ball goes to ground. Not the best of passes from the centre. Wesley Wilson made the attempt, but the ball too far down for him to collect. Hardcroft takes a high shot from full-back Broadbent. Gets up and has a look round. As Gibson almost escapes the clutches. Haley will go from acting half. All wrapped up by Fatty Alofa. Sharif tries to wrestle his way out of the tackle. Jason Bolts flattened by Mick Nanning. You look at Nanning, he's bigger than some of the Halifax forwards. Corcoran goes for the 40-20. Won't get there though. It'll bounce up for Calvert. Chases on. And Larder was edged out of the way by McDermott there. Tackle's made up. Comes Broadbent again from acting half. Penny turns it inside to Summers. Broadbent from acting half gives it to McDermott. And McDermott will make 10 before being tackled. Penny turns it back inside to Broadbent again. Last tackle. Whitehaven still 30 metres away from that Halifax line, but with men over on this side if they choose to use them. Penny to Leroy Joe, and that's where the advantage tells. And there's no problem this time for the winger, Craig Calvert, as he goes in to put the icing on the cake of a dominant performance by a Whitehaven side that have 13 men for 70 minutes of this game. Calvert helps himself to a double. And if Nanning kicks this, it will keep up Whitehaven's momentum, as they've only failed once this season against Barrow in the first game of the season to score 40 points. So Nanning to make the half century for Whitehaven against what's been left an injury ravaged side with the loss of Lawford this afternoon. And Nanning misses the target, but Whitehaven 30 points to the good. Whitehaven 48. So Whitehaven 48, Halifax 18. And a bad day at the office for Anthony Farrell, although Halifax did regain the composure in this second half and did threaten for some periods. McDonald's in and fancies another go. The referee puts himself in the middle, and McDonald will be off the field for 10 minutes. And been shown a yellow card despite the fact that the referee has said the next one won't get red. And that will not please Anthony Farrell. It will not please Ryan McDonald, who's pleasing his innocence. And it's brought one of the biggest cheers of the afternoon for McDonald, who's a local lad. And Whitehaven pour forward again, now against 11 men. For the last 2 minutes, Fatty Alofa unloads despite the tacklers, and Broadbent just unable to take advantage. Well, they're screaming at Larder to get up there, but I'm not sure whether they were actually injured or not. He's struggled to get to his feet. And here they go again with Rudd down this short side. Bloom makes the tackle 15 metres away from the Halifax line. Still time for Whitehaven to add to that score. Leroy Jones kick through, has caught the Halifax defence napping. And that is a big disappointment for Halifax, a big advantage for Whitehaven. Halifax always up against it when they were down to 12 men, and now down to 11. Well, there's only so many gaps you can cover, and Halifax unable to cover all the bases there with just 11 men. Carl Size taking Whitehaven over the 50-point mark. And Nanning will make amends for that last kick, I would imagine, from this a much simpler position. A long trick back down, and Anthony Farrell was right when he said that Whitehaven would be the hardest place to come away and win. Well, it's been proved so, but it's made harder the fact that there's only been 12 Halifax men on the field for 70 minutes and 11 men for the last 3 or 4 minutes as MacDonald made an early exit from the field. A lot of disappointed Halifax supporters, a lot of ecstatic Whitehaven supporters. Halifax still without league points so far this season, totally dominated by Whitehaven up here in Cumbria. The final score, Whitehaven 54, Halifax 18.